to the Mind Rise podcast, the catalyst that takes you from who you are right now to all that you can become.
Why didn't we record that? That's like the gold content. That is like nothing could be truer than that. And also I think daylight savings kind of like fucked over a lot of people. Like I don't know why, but being 7 to 12 minutes off feels like very reasonable considering how unreasonable it is that they just like threw our whole biological clock and day clock off by an hour, you know?
Right, but 7 to 12 minutes is, like, annoyingly enough that you're not canceling or rescheduling things. Like, if you're a half hour off, right? If you're a half hour off, you're like, "I'm a half hour off. Hey, I gotta
Yeah.
push it to 10." But 7
Yeah.
minutes, you think for sure you're gonna catch up. 12, you're like, "Oh, well, maybe I can make it. Okay," you know? No, that's not it. And, each day I'm like, "It's gonna get better," but then when the day starts at, like, 3 minutes off, then the afternoon's at 7 minutes off, then by evening it's 12 minutes off, I'm like, "Okay, cool. We're done here, day. Where's my bed?"
This feels like a metaphor for what it's like to be a woman. As you're saying this, I'm having this weird like connection between what you just said and what it is to be, you know, a high functioning woman in a broken system where you're always just like so close. You're always just close enough that you feel enough motivation to keep pushing yourself to like make it or arrive or fix this thing or maximize or optimize or whatever, but just always 5 to 7 minutes short of like ever possibly getting there. You know what I mean?
Yes, and I wonder, like, is it just because I stacked too much shit into my morning? This is my morning routine, and frankly, like, my morning routine is for my mental health. If I don't do it, like, somebody's gonna die, and it could be anybody. It could literally be anybody. I mean, so when I said the morning went sideways, like, we're on our way to school, and she's being real shifty in the back seat, and I'm like, "What
Mm,
is going on?" And
mm.
she's real shifty. I'm like, "Are you okay?" She's like, "Well, I'm just, like, cold," because we went from
Yeah. Summer to
spring.
winter in a
I
day.
mean, it was
No,
80.
I
Yesterday was
know.
80, and then it wasn't. And
Mm.
so she's cold, but we're driving to school. And I said, "Okay, well, do you want me to turn around?" And she said, "No, we'll be late." And I said, "Are you saying no because you're worried about getting yelled at by me?" I mean, not by her teacher, by
Mhm.
me. "Are you worried about being yelled at? Or are you just, it's going to warm up later and you're going to be fine?"
Mhm.
And she was worried about being yelled at
Yeah.
because we were late. And I was just like, "You know what? Screw it." I turned the car around.
There's my 7 minutes.
Right. The 7 I just committed to 12. Like, I just committed to
Mm.
12. But I turned it around and created a narrative for her and I in that turnaround, and she's like, no, mama, we're gonna be late." And she was panicking, and I'm like, "God, I so recognize that panic. I
Yeah.
so recognize that." And I said, "Phoebes, we gotta just turn this bus around. We're gonna
Yeah.
reset the morning,
Mhm.
and there's no reason for you to be cold and not having your jacket." And, like, yeah, she had a sweatshirt, she had pants. I mean, it was within reason. She wasn't, like, wearing a tube top and her bathing suit
Right.
to school, right? Like,
Mhm.
she was headed there appropriately dressed enough. But I just thought, like, how often do we put our comfort to the side because we are trying to be on time or not disappoint somebody or avoid being yelled at?
Mhm.
I was just like, we're just gonna go ahead and smash that one for this morning.
Totally.
Fuck
This
it.
is, like, so amazing. Oh my gosh, because it's really, like, bringing it full circle, right? Because you and I are still a bit in this paradigm of, like, be on time, like, keep it together, but at the same time, we're trying to raise the next generation to notice themselves first, honor themselves first, fuck the time.
Right.
Don't keep it together, like, don't worry about being 12 minutes late, right? So then we give that gift, and it's beautiful, and they learn the lesson, but then we return to our normal world, and we're like, "Fuck, I'm 7 to 12 minutes behind. Is this okay? Like, am I okay? What do I" that feeling?
Right.
So, I just wanna, like, give a nod to that and, like, honor that for a minute, because it's a lot of work, but I think it's beautiful, and it's, like, what we're giving the next generation of girls especially is so profound, even as we're, like, swimming in the water of it not being okay for us, we're making it okay for them, so
Trying.
trying, trying, trying counts.
Trying.
Mm.
Right. And here we are, like our podcast topic for today.
Yeah,
Right.
let's shall we set the scene? Why are we here? What is our intention for today?
Right. Well, I mean, you had posted about tracking everybody and being on that high alert. And it was
Mhm.
like my hippocampus and amygdala were like, suspect at best. Like, right. I mean, and I love looking at the geeky science aspect of it, but we are
Yeah.
absolutely positively decimating our amygdala and our hippocampus, all this functioning right here. Like one ends up burning itself out, right? The amygdala.
Mhm.
The hippocampus then atrophies when we are over tracking everyone else, staying in
Mm.
those states of hypervigilance. And
Mhm.
so when you wrote that piece, I was just like, can we say it louder for the people in the back? And then I was like, we need
Mhm.
to do a podcast on this. Like, we need to
Yes.
talk about it.
Mhm. So for those of you who are just tuning in to either one, I'm going to introduce myself and then you introduce yourself. Then we'll share how we know each other. Then we will pull up said Instagram post and we will go from there. Sound good?
I love this plan.
I
Yes,
love
go
this
for it.
plan. Great.
Yes.
Great. We're rolling with it. Okay. So my name is Gervase Kolmos. I'm the host of the Modern Phoenix podcast. I am an intuitive coach who helps women reconnect to themselves, mind, body, and soul. I do that through a blend of like embodiment, hypnotherapy, visualization, coaching, and I've been doing this work for over a decade, and I have had the delight of connecting with Bailey here multiple ways over the course of the last decade. So excited to just like have an excuse to jam with you here. The last time we were together, I was like, could you like move next door to me? This sucks. So get ready for kind of like what I think the world needs right now, which is just like a real conversation and not, I mean, she already dropped amygdala and hippocampus. So if you needed some of that hard data, you've got it. But also, I just feel like women are tired. You know what I mean? Like they're tired of being so smart and capable and functioning. And to me, I would be very curious about hearing the behind the scenes conversation between two practitioners, facilitators in this space, talking about how they see this in their kids, in their clients, and in themselves and in each other, and just kind of like pull up a chair, grab a drink kind of a feeling is how I'm feeling about this, and less like let's be polished and professional. Because I don't know, if you want polished and professional, you can go back to the archives of like hundreds of episodes that we've both done on our podcast. But I'm excited for us to just connect and like share what it's really like to be a high functioning woman in an overachieving world in a system that tells us that it's never enough. We're always 7 to 12 minutes behind of whatever the goalpost is. So that's my spiel. I'll
This is
pause and
one
let
hell of
you.
an intro. One hell of an intro. I love it. I love it. But I'm with you. I think that it is. It's about having those honest conversations because yes, I will give you the science and the data and or even the wonderful polished sexy Instagram photo shoot. And those things are real, but here's also what's real
Yeah.
is being in of it. Right? Like here's what it looks like
Yeah.
today and here's how I'm navigating it today. So, I'm Bailey Frumen. I'm a psychotherapist. I'm an author of Own Your Power and the forthcoming book, Wrecking Ball Revolution. I'm super excited about that. We're doing covers this week. I know, girls feeling herself. And I own a coaching company called Mind Rise. We work with leaders, high achievers, pretty much just getting out of their own way. Because the truth is, when you get to the top of your game, it's kind of an echo chamber up there. And it can feel really lonely, right? And then we get in our own head and then we get in our own way. And then we're wondering, what the fuck am I doing here? So that's
Mm.
my introduction. As I said, I have a background as a psychotherapist, so sometimes I like to get geeky about the brain science of things, but it's the brain science and the practical application, right? We could wax lyrical about all the data and all the studies, but how does it actually happen in your real life? And is it functional? And what happens when it's not functional? So I am excited to have this conversation because yeah, like I was saying before, when I was reading your words, and I've read your words and heard your words for a long time, and I've loved it. And in fact, Gervase and I are still trying to put together how we know each other. Neither one of us can
Unclear.
actually, yeah, unclear. It's unclear. But I do remember probably like an Instagram or even Facebook. I don't know. I don't think we go back to MySpace, but it's been a minute. and, and I was just like, who is this person speaking these truths? Let's turn the volume up. So I'm excited to have this conversation with you today because even this week, I've had a similar conversation with so many of my clients. And what they're describing is exactly what you said in the Instagram post. So I'm going to go
Mhm.
ahead and toss it over to you, Miss Instagrammer.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Thank you. I love you. Let's find the post. I am so tired of constantly tracking the nervous systems of everyone I love, of constantly processing who is mad, who is triggered, who needs a hug, who feels left out. I am so fucking tired of holding the burden of believing that I need to know how everyone in the room is feeling. And it is my job as the woman, mother, daughter, sister, friend to attend to that. And then wondering why I feel overwhelmed, disoriented, or disconnected from my body. I am doing this thing where I practice what I am loosely calling self containment. It's something I do sometimes alone and sometimes with help, but it is in the interest of building a bridge to we with whomever I find myself in this old pattern of anxious attachment with. It looks like this. I notice that I am noticing them and how they feel and what they need and want more than I am noticing me. I notice then that knowing that they are uncomfortable creates this overwhelming feeling of ick inside me. I notice an almost uncontrollable urge to help them. I want to give all the best parts of me to soothe them. I notice that my urge to soothe them is actually soothing this raging feeling of ick inside of me. I notice that this helping isn't help at all. It's me using them to regulate myself, and we both stay trapped in the pattern.
Still, I got chills.
It
I
makes me
got
like
chills.
kind of want to cry.
I mean, like, you go ahead. You've got your earbuds in. You just go ahead and raise your hand if this feels true, because
Yeah.
all the parts feel true. Regulating ourselves based on other people, paying more attention to other people than we are ourselves. And I think it also could go, and we'll probably weave it right back to the start of our conversation, where we are trying to teach our children, particularly our daughters,
Mhm.
something
Mhm.
that we either never had modeled for us, or we're literally constructing, if we are at all, if we even have given ourselves a permission slip, because for me,
Right.
it requires a permission slip. And I don't
Mm.
know if that's like back to my like afraid of the hall monitor days or what, but it
No.
requires this permission slip for me to say it's okay to take care of you.
Yeah, totally. Oh my gosh, yes, and I do think the permission slip is like I was having a session yesterday, and I'm just, like, endlessly amazed by how soothing the permission slip is to me. Like, how much I need that courage to, like, keep going and give that permission slip to others. It's like, I just think we're not gonna just, like, find it. Like, we're just, like, not gonna, like people are not handing out hall passes, you know? I literally this is might be a bit of a like a tangent, but I've been married for a while, like 16 years, and this morning I was feeling a little bit of this because of the day I had yesterday, which we don't need to get into, but I noticed I was like, "Oh, I'm feeling like the vulnerability hangover, that feeling of ick, that feeling of like, is this okay?" And I mean, when I tell you this used to be paralyzing. Like this used to be like I would immediately shut down, leave my body, like incapable of functioning. So for me to have just a little bit of like, oh, I noticed that and like it's fine, but like I don't love it, but like, ugh, it's fine, is huge progress. And I come home and I was like, I said to my husband, I'm like, can you just like hold me on the couch for like 5 minutes? I just feel like I would love that feeling of like safety and I said something to him to the effect of like, "It's okay, right? Like, when I take care of myself, the fact that I'm going on retreat, the fact that I ran my mouth yesterday, the fact that I'm a lot, all this stuff, like, can you just like say the words again? Like, it's okay." Because I think I know it's okay and I don't need you to give me this, but like we're at this part in our relationship where like I get to get that from him, And
Right.
he was like, "Babe, you are so much." And, like, "You're working on trusting this, and, like, it's needed. The world needs it, and, like, you're good," and all he was just, like, saying these things to me, and I was like, "This is such a gift that he's, like, breathing belief into me." And I asked for it, and I knew that I could get it from him, but I just feel like we can't get enough of it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things like when the pendulum has
Right.
swung so far, I just feel like women are constantly convincing themselves that like they don't need it or they can just do it themselves or it won't make that much of a difference or they're weak if they outsource it, whether it's like, I mean, any kind of relationship, And I just maybe note one, like I just cannot stress enough how much we need to be permission givers to each other. We need to like hold up the mirror and be like, it is normal that you feel like this is weird and crazy and a lot and too much and you need to do it. And you're safe and you're
Right.
okay. And I love you
Right.
and I got you and fucking keep going, sister. I'm with you, you know? So I think that's like a key point to make.
Right, right, right. And like in our sexy science terminology, we might call it co-regulation.
Hmm.
And sometimes people can hear, they're like, yeah, but I don't have that partner that I can curl into, whether it's because they are single or because they actually don't have a trusted partnership where they feel like they don't have to perform. I know for sure I've navigated that where it's
Hmm.
just like, who do I have to be here?
Yeah.
So I hear you that we also need to be doing it for each other, like woman to woman. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
happy to do it for the lady at the barista at the coffee shop, where I'm just like loving those earrings. This is gonna be a great day, and just like you know, as long as it's authentic and it's
Yeah.
not another case for us to perform for one another.
Right. Cause then we get into fawning, right? Like the
Right, then
thing
we're fucking exhausted again.
so the thing we're so good at is fawning. I find myself having to like turn off my tracker of noticing all the fawning around me as a woman. I'm like, it actually now triggers me to see all the fawning that other women do. And I say that like, I know it sounds super harsh, but it's just been my own, of course. Like it triggers me because I see myself. I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that I went so many decades just like keeping the peace and being overly nice and overly charming and overly likable and, whatever, saying anything to keep the peace, but also to make other people feel good while also abandoning myself.
There we go, and it's full circle back to this Substack piece. Is here I am. What's going on with you? What's going on with you? What's going on with you? What's going on
Mhm.
with you? So
Mhm.
much so, there's literally no energy to come here.
Right.
I didn't even know to come here, let alone come here first.
Right.
Come here at
Here
all. I
being
did
she's
not know.
pointing to herself for those of
Oh,
you who
yeah.
can't see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. All
Home.
right.
Home. My
Here's the
own
good thing.
body and soul. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Again, that's like we cannot hear that message enough. I truly feel like when I open my apps and I'm like reading things, I'll like be stopped in my track by like a couple voices in our space who are saying these things, and I realize how unusual it is to hear it. I'm like, oh, that's different. Like prioritize coming home, like prioritize checking in here first, because I think what we're all doing is like antenna out, and even well-meaning nerdy types like the scientific, the jargon, all of the psycho speak,
Sure.
it's like you can hack this by learning more out here, almost, if that makes sense. The antenna is still pointed out. I just wonder, I mean, of course, it can be a both and, like you said, but I wonder how much we can actually really learn slash integrate, like embody, like digest, like really bring into our system if we're not first starting to be like, oh, hi. Oh, hi, self. Hi,
Right.
hi, body. What's going on in my heart today? Like, how am I really? That's like my favorite. It's not like a unique coaching question in our world, but
Sure.
there's something when a woman gets asked, like, how are you really? That makes her pause and lean back and go, like, huh, how am I really? What is going on with me? Let me like notice myself. That feels like so foreign, but also when you do it, you're like, I feel like most women, as soon as you ask them if they have space and it's like a safe person, they immediately kind of like tear up.
Right.
Oh my gosh, I actually haven't allowed myself to think about that, all the things that I'm holding. Because if I did, this is like something in the Substack is about like how it feels to feel instead of fix.
Right. And I'll also toss over, so I'm sure everybody's seen on Instagram, like, and here's my morning routine.
Mm.
And it's like we've got, whether it's patches on the eyes or lemon water or all this stuff, which again, love me some
I could use some eye
self
patches.
right. Oh my gosh. I saw two girls at the coffee shop yesterday. I was like there for a meeting. Two girls with like golden eye patches on. And I was like, I didn't know we were doing this in public, but I am here for it.
Or just like, fuck it. I can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to be 7 minutes late if I don't bring this to the coffee shop.
We're doing it. We're doing it 100%. But, I think about my own morning routine where I consciously make that time to sit and I'm journaling on the same things because I'm not trying to like get my brain to think of anything new. Just like, here's your routine and then see what comes out of. And there are times for sure that when I ask myself, how are you really? Or when I added to my repertoire the question of like, what do I need? There's moments when I like get choked up and I will literally just be like, "Oh, yep, time up, time to wake up Phoebe," or like, "Oh, yep, time for my workout." And I think that that's also something that's worth entering this conversation
Mm.
is that when we do stop to ask ourselves, "How do I really feel?" Sometimes it feels so damn overwhelming because we might not feel like we have the capacity to feel our feelings fully,
Mhm.
or like then what to do with them.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. You know what just came up for me when you were saying that is I was just thinking how much more privilege I have than you have to feel my feelings because I have a husband like in my home. I talk to and like work with a lot of women who are single parents. And I don't know, this is my perception, so I would love to hear your take. It does seem like there is a higher risk for them to stop. Like there's a higher risk for them to feel because it is more responsibility on them. It is more pressure on them. Like the stakes are higher because if they, like if I drop the ball, I have the privilege of knowing like my husband can dribble it back. And does that mean that I don't think I could like hack it alone? Like, no, I think women are amazing and can do anything and all of that. But I don't know. I wonder if that feels true for you because as you were saying it, it felt really relevant.
Well, it's interesting to bring that up, and I'm happy to talk about it. I think that there's a couple of regards there because I'm even thinking about some of my clients that I have also had the intimate privilege of getting to know them where they're at. And yeah, they have a partner, but they don't feel safe to
Mm, yeah,
express or safe that they're going to pick up the ball if they're done dribbling it. So I want to invite them into the
totally.
conversation too,
Good point.
because
Great
I
point.
have to say, even in my previous marriage, I mean, I was a one woman show in my previous marriage, and that's again, no criticism. But there were times in which I thought to myself, well, if I'm going to do this all myself, I'm going to do it all myself without being pissed off that you're not doing it.
Mm,
So,
straight up.
whether it is like a husband, whether it is a sister, whether it is a best friend, whether it is, frankly, a therapist, a coach, like those are the beautiful parts to me about co regulation. And going full circle into what you had asked me, there are times when I look around and it is a one woman show and I have one small contestant, and I'm saying to myself, you don't have the privilege of
Mhm.
not being okay. So in those instances, that's where maybe it's my profession or just like, I don't know, I got a really good idea to make sure that I'm supported. But that's why I have a coach. Like that is why I go on retreats. That's why I go to yoga, take the time for myself, make sure that my schedule is the way that it is so that I can carry the entire load. But it's not without thinking through the logistics of what I need in order to do that as best as I can. That also doesn't mean that I didn't like lose my shit about the 3D printer this morning because I was like, you have to have shoes on your feet and eggs in your mouth before
Mhm.
you're 3D printing. Like, both things are true. It's like, yeah, and then like I went to yoga every like Tuesday and Thursday morning so that I
Mhm.
can like be the best single parent I can be and doesn't like preclude me from losing my shit. And you having a husband in the house probably does not preclude you from losing your shit either.
Mhm. No. No, it does not. No, and I think there's also like a distinction here between like having a mentee be, which is one thing, and feeling your feelings. Like I think sometimes they're a little different. Like I think there's one thing happening in most households across definitely in America, like as a parent where you're just like, this is just unreasonable. This is like insanity. I can't. No, this is fuck this shit. I am the most unhinged person sometimes, like with my kids, because I'm just like, this is insanity. And they laugh about it the next day. They're like, wow, you were like real crazy yesterday. I'm like, I know, because that was stupid. So I'm not sorry. Like there's one thing happening where there's like the mentee bee, like losing your shit. Like,
Right.
how am I supposed to do all of this stuff and not be 12 minutes late for everything I've ever done in my life and calm and peaceful and all that stuff? And then there's like the depth of your pain. Like, then there's like the wound that we don't touch because if we did, we might never come back from it, maybe. And that is a lot harder. Like, that's a lot scarier. And that's sometimes inconvenient. Like, the timing of that can be inconvenient. And I wonder if women, like, to what you said before we went down the single parent route, you were like talking about when you're just about to feel a feeling and then you're like, okay, time to go, like time to do something else. I mean, I think there's so many reasons why that happens in a woman. One of which is like women have been taught that feeling feelings is not okay, that it's weakness, like don't be a hysterical woman. And I think there's a little bit of that like misunderstanding that for me, if I feel like a big wave of emotion is coming and it's raw grief or, something that links back to, childhood trauma or something like that, I know, like, this is part of my soul curriculum. Like, I better get in line and follow this wave because if I don't, there will actually be a consequence later from suppressing that. You talk about like completing the stress cycle. It's like if every time a kid was about to cry, you were like, "Ah, don't you," which is basically how all of us were raised. But if you
Right.
like cut that stress cycle right at the top, then it goes in and the body clenches and the body holds it and the body remembers that silencing. And there's a lot there that needs to be like released and alchemized. And I think reframing how we relate to that moment when we feel the emotion. And of course, like there's times where like you're in a coffee shop and it's not a good time. Like it would be not a great time to feel your darkest, deepest pain. But sometimes I do think if I've got a little bit of space or like I'm home or something's coming up, I'm like, I better respect this. Like I consider it like my feminine wave like coming through because I feel like it's part of my cleansing. It's part of like my like I will be different on the other side of this, like I'm completing a stress cycle and healing something a layer deeper and integrating something in my body that will then not hold me back tomorrow, let's say.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does. And like for you and for everyone listening, I want everyone to pay attention to the way Gervase just said that because you're saying it in a way that there's a narrative that supports that being okay, right? I
Yeah.
am completing a cycle. And when we lovingly coach ourselves through that, then we can make it through the other side and reap those benefits. But
Right.
to your point, when maybe historically we've been silenced or we find our own emotions inconvenient, it's like we stop at that point of the stress cycle because there's no time for this, or we haven't made peace with what it looks like to actually go through it and to trust that we'll be okay running through that cycle. So that's why, like, a lot of the conversations I love to have with my clients, with myself, with Instagram, is around like, what is that conversation you are having with yourself? Because if you are having the conversation with yourself, which I have, so I'm happy to share what that narrative is, I don't have time for that, right? Or you're making a bigger deal out of it than it is. Like, don't think about that. Oh, that's not intuition. That's just your anxiety, right? All that. Da, 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 da. I think of it as like, I mean, we can call it the itty bitty shitty committee, but like that's not the voice. That's actually like lovingly coaching us through that. And if you don't have that voice because it wasn't modeled to you, like, this is why these podcasts, these conversations, that Substack are so damn important because now we get to adopt a new narrative of the way that we talk to ourselves that will help us do these scary things. Because it can feel scary to go through that stress cycle and trust that you're going to come out on the other side when what you're used to is, oh, I'm at the pinnacle of it. Good. Let me squeeze it all in. And then
Mhm.
you like, I don't know, lose your shit about the 3D printer.
Right. Like if you've never hiked up a mountain and come back down, like it would be scary
There we go.
time you hike up because you just be like, I'm gonna diet. Like, I need evidence that I'm gonna be able to come back down. I don't wanna stay on the top of that mountain forever. So that's why it's good to have people that have gone before you. It's good to have somebody like Sherpa you up that mountain because it's terrifying to feel your feelings for the first time if you haven't. I mean, it's terrifying to feel your feelings for the millionth time even sometimes, depending on how big they are. And also just I don't know, like I feel like can't stress enough for women. Like you also are the expert of you. Like your no's and yeses are sacred. And so sometimes I'll tell a woman, even if we've been working together for some time, you can trust yourself. Like you'll know when you feel safe and sturdy enough in yourself to let go another 1%. Like there's a good reason why you're clenching, and we haven't developed the level of depth and trust that you need. And that's okay. Like, I will earn that. Like, we will develop that relational trust. We're just like telling women, like, bypass that feeling and just feel your feelings. It's like, well, women are smart. Our bodies are smart. It's like, if your partner can't handle that. If your partner can't hold you. Like, there's a reason why you're not feeling your feelings and you're tracking your partner. Very likely, right? Very likely because he does not have the capacity to meet you at the top of that mountain or hold your hand and like walk you back down. And so there is a level of like, Kelly Brogan always says like, are you are you looking for eggs at the hardware store? I always think about that, like sticking with partnership. Like, are you expecting your partner to like be this safe place for you to feel your feelings and stop tracking all this stuff? But he doesn't have the capacity either. He or she, don't mean to stereotype that way, but
Sure.
where can you go to really practice, right? And this is why we have the businesses that we have. Like women need to normalize this. Like it's normal that your sister doesn't know how to do this for you. She's learning it too, right? Like we need to go to the right store to get the eggs, to practice, to loosen up, to feel safe before we take it to the coliseum, of our lives. Like we practice in the safe, smaller places. So that's one thing I wanted to say. And then there was something else. Oh, the second half of this post was about like a process, which as I was rereading it, I was like, I really need to framework this process for people. Like I've been playing with this a little bit, but like a process for like self-containment, which is kind of what you were like.
Yeah, let's talk
Yeah.
about it. Yes.
And I think what I notice is when we are tracking out here, when we start to feel hyper vigilant and like super in our survival brain and leave our bodies and antenna out, what that usually means is we're instantly disoriented. Like we're actually not able to attune to intuition in my experience, right? So like I said, I had the session yesterday with my teacher and she did something. She's like, I took a risk and I saw her do it. She disoriented me. I was like feeling really good. And then she said something to touch on my shit that she knew would trigger me. And I immediately got disoriented. And I could feel that I was disoriented. It was like my head was like a balloon. And I
Mhm.
suddenly was like searching for the right angle or the right, mindset or the right spin or like what's the safe thing to say or believe about this thing? And I knew that I was doing it, but I was like, I can't figure out which way is up. And she was watching me because she was, we were practicing for the Coliseum, like in a small
Right,
safe
right, right,
place.
right.
And I just want to like make sure people understand that like when you're the most disoriented, when you're the most triggered or hyper vigilant, you're not also able to in your mind find the way. And this is why the framework that, I teach in the Inner Knowing Mastermind, which you did with me, and there's more here, but I'm just going to loosely share in case it's helpful, is NPR, right? So you have to notice first, like, I am so disoriented. I am in my head. I am trying to think my way to shore, think my way down this mountain. And really, I'm just like, I need to pause. I need to pause everything. I cannot solve this problem from the same state that I created it from. And then resource. So NPR, notice, pause, resource. And the resourcing part is just to get you back to baseline so that then you can be like, oh, okay, there I am. What is true? what feels right, like what's the next right thing. So it's kind of like walking you back down from your brain into your body in my mind. And I just wanted to add that to this conversation, right? Because it's like when we notice that we're noticing other people more than ourselves, we're probably already quite dysregulated. We're probably already quite disoriented. That's a word that just really resonates for me because that's how it feels to me. It feels like I'm in the ocean and I truly don't know which way is up, which feels absurd because I'm like, I don't know. It seems like it would be so simple to find the top of the ocean when you're swimming, but it really feels that way. And so when we notice that, like noticing is the first step. And it's so valuable to be like, oh, I'm doing that thing again. Let me just stop. Let me just stop. Stop paddling. Stop like freaking out. Stop looking for the right answers. Let me just like pause and like, just like, okay, what do I need to do to just feel okay, more okay in this moment? And that's a whole bigger conversation. And then we can tap into, bottom up processing.
Notice Pause resource, NPR, is one of my absolute favorite tools because when I'm feeling like something's amiss, something's
Mm.
off, or I'm losing my shit about the 3D printer, like, I'm like, this is not a state that I want to co-sign on. Like, I'm
Yeah.
just, nope.
I do not consent.
I do not consent to this. And even how you said, like, we're not going to solve it in the
Mm.
same state that created it. Let's like say that again for everybody listening. Like, we aren't going to solve it in
Mm.
the state that we created it in. And I think that that's another important narrative that we can lovingly give to ourselves to navigate it. It's like, okay, I don't want to feel this way. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's I don't wanna feel that way, and therefore, like, I'm panicking because I have no solutions, but this creates that narrative. If I don't wanna feel that way, so I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna reorient myself. I'm gonna resource. I know that you constantly say, like, that "Where's my water?" So whether that resource is, right, having your water, hydrating yourself, or, like, what the version of your water is, I think that's an important, and one of the languages that I use is are smoke alarms going off, right? So if you're already noticing that you're noticing everyone
Mhm.
else, that's a good smoke alarm to let you
Yeah.
know
The house is actually on fire.
house is on fire, right? Because it's so easy to slip into those states because
Yeah.
they are the default setting. Plug the VCR in and it blinks 12 because this is
Mhm.
the default state for me to maintain safety by tracking everyone else.
I kind of wanna tie this back to what you did for your daughter.
Yeah.
It's, like, such a good example, right? Like, most mothers that I know are doing this in real time, right? Like, we notice that our kids are there's something's up. Like, okay, I'm fidgeting in my seat, I'm really emotional today, something's going on, and we pause them. We're like, "Wait, I know we're rushing because we're always rushing because we're American. I don't know, we just rush. It's, like, in the DNA."
100%.
But let's pause and let's check in with what you actually need right now. If you could have what you actually need, would we go home and get the jacket? Okay, we're going to turn around and go home and get the jacket. And like rewiring that for her in real time. I know that you notice that I might be mad or whatever, your teacher might be mad if we're late, but we're going to pause because I notice that something, there's a smoke alarm going off, something's up. And what do you actually need? Let's go do it. Right. So we are doing this for our kids all the time. Like, I really feel like we get this as mothers, and I know not everybody listening is even female, so but I wanna nod to that, but or just as parents, I really feel like we can conceptualize this as parents even, or talking to children, and so it's not so crazy to try this on as a high-functioning, mature adult. It's like, "Oh, smoke alarm's going off. I notice something's up with me. I don't know what." And people are always like, I don't know why. Why am I acting like this? Why do I feel this way? Why? I'm like, I could give you literally 100 good reasons why. Like, give me 30 seconds. I could list up 100 good reasons because the water that we're swimming in there's so many problematic things happening there. So let's not worry about the why. Let's just normalize it. Like, You're feeling how you're feeling, and you have a lot of good reasons, and we don't need to shame that, like, over intellectualize it. But let's pause and let's check in with you. What do I actually need? Where's my water? I drink water all day long. I don't like put it on my calendar, take a sip of water at 8:45. Like that would be insane, right? And so it's just rewiring, a mature, fully formed adult to do what we're already wiring our kids to do, to be like, of course, I'm also still going to go to school. Like your kid is still going to go to school. It's not about, choosing yourself over your education. But that's how we make it in our minds. We make
Oh,
the
sure.
resource like,
We oversize it, sure.
and like either or. Either I get what I need or they get what they need. And it's like what we're practicing is that window of tolerance in the nervous system of like, oh, what's it like to be uncomfortable and notice it and pause and actually be there for myself and show up for the thing. It's like the both of it creates that window of tolerance where we're able to be in the coliseum of life more often, like with more resilience, with more strength, with more like self-assuredness, more solidness. And I think I believe that that is what the world needs right now. Like more women who trust themselves, even though they have needs, even though they're 7 to 12 minutes late, even though like what they need to be okay seems to sometimes like directly oppose what the world expects of them. But also when we are there for ourselves, let's say it's in relationship, the other person is empowered, forced to be there for themselves, right? Because when we stop fixing, when we stop soothing them, when we stop, fluffing that person is suddenly sitting there like, where's the, it's like the first time I didn't make my dad coffee. He was like, what am I supposed to, I don't know how to make coffee. He didn't know how to make coffee. This was like 5 years ago. Okay. This was not so long ago. And I was like holding a baby and I was like, yeah, I guess it's time for you to learn. And I could talk you through it from here while I'm breastfeeding, but like I'm not available. I need to be here doing this for me. And that creates space for that person to do this thing for themselves. And that is the bridge to we. That is like healthy relationships, like the dynamics that we actually desire anyway, right? Like two fully informed, like empowered, sovereign, respectful adults that aren't taking advantage of each other and like enmeshed in that way.
Totally. And as you said, I need to be here, and you pointed at your chest. I also like wanted the fine print there to be, I have to love me and
Yeah.
regard me
Yeah.
enough to want to be with me.
Mm.
I say that out loud because I know that that is so important. I've definitely had seasons of my own life when it was so much easier to throw myself into the job, or what do I need in parenting, or who can I be or perform? I mean, back in the day for my parents, and it's just like, how can I seek that approval? How can I get that A? How can I? And that was so much easier to be a source of self, a source of worth, a source of value,
Right.
that am the first person to say, I don't know that those fundamentals, I love myself,
Mhm.
were developed at those young ages, because so much of my attention was outside of myself as to whether or not I deserved to be loved.
Right.
And it was, but whether or not I deserved to be loved by anybody else rather
Yes.
than love me. So when we even say like, "Oh, I'm gonna be here and you can make the coffee over there," like,
Mhm.
I'm gonna be here because I love me and I love being here with me. And that has to be an important fine print, because sometimes it's hard to be with ourselves, whether it's being with our feelings or being with ourselves, if we haven't decided that our worthiness is is
Mhm. Mhm.
separate and aside from how we can perform, act, appease others.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you said that. Yeah. And our relationship with ourselves is number one, which sounds cray cray to say it, but it's the one you're with more than any other for the rest of your life, guaranteed, no matter what. Like it's you and you. And of
Right.
course, we need community, but I think, yeah, working through whatever's blocking you from loving and accepting yourself. There's so many good reasons that we develop in childhood, that most patterns get ingrained really early on of like outsourcing our value, outsourcing our worthiness, outsourcing our yeses and our nos. That's why I love to tell people, like, hey, just a reminder, you're a grown ass woman. Your yes and no is sacred here. If you don't want to, it's fine. That's great. Because how often is that the messaging for a woman? It's like
Yeah.
almost never, right? So we're rewiring a lot. We're reworking, reweaving. It's like untangling. I remember this former client, Erin Irons, began doing art when we started working together, and she did this drawing. I can link it. Actually, it's so beautiful. Where it was like a woman tangled. It was like all these like tangles, like hunched over, and she was talking about what it's like to start to do your healing work and just like love yourself and be there for yourself and know yourself and have a relationship with yourself. And it was like a woman who's tangled up and then it's like untangled and like redone, right? Like she emerges like who she truly is before she was who she felt she needed to be. And it's such a beautiful visual to remind us of what it is, I think, to be a modern woman. Like we all got that message, not all, but a lot of us got that message of your value is earned and your safety
100%.
is contingent and your purpose is for other people and achievement and excellence is the only option. Don't you dare be 5 minutes late. You actually better be 12 minutes early. That's it. Like the standard,
Right.
the bar was set so high for a lot of reasons that make sense from the generation that raised us, right? Like it's all
Passed down.
rippled
It is
down.
passed down. It's an heirloom.
Yeah, it is. Vintage.
Fact.
So
Fact.
as we reweave it for our daughters, we are also reweaving it for ourselves. So it makes sense that it would take time and practice to untangle it all and then reweave it how it aligns with like our inherent worthiness and humanity, just like being a human.
I mean, obviously, like as we're talking, I didn't even bring my notebook over here because I'm like, I will like burn my hand taking notes. Because again, there's so many other topics that we can go off of from here, like being the authority of ourselves and like developing self love and keeping self love. Because even as you're talking about it, it's like, yeah, I'm great at loving myself when I am on time or 12
Yeah.
minutes early, or
Yeah.
when I am absolutely like resplendent and I have like worked out and I don't know,
Right.
like left my kid a note in her lunchbox or whatever.
Oh, yeah. When you got the A.
Right. When I get the A, I can loving myself. I'm
Mhm.
so good at that. I mean, we can have an entire conversation about still loving ourselves, still valuing ourselves, still finding that we deserve to track and check in within ourselves here before we're tracking everybody else. I mean, we've got like 400 more podcasts to talk about,
Yeah.
but
It should be a
for the
series.
purposes of wrapping this party
Yeah,
up
we can
today,
wrap it up.
wrapping up today, going full circle in when you find yourself tracking everybody else, use that as a smoke alarm. Hop
Mhm.
yourself into a little NPR, notice what's going on, pause, right? Resource, where's my water? What do I need? Coming back to you. That's all we got for today.
Good, and it's enough.
It is enough. And if you are 12 minutes late, like you were 12 minutes on time. You were just doing
Yeah.
great.
You're in
You're,
good company also. Like,
yeah.
I'll definitely be 12 minutes late, at least
You
7.
right. Right. And the world's best minivan.
Oh, well, I love you. That was so good to jam on this. Maybe we'll do a part 2. If you want a part 2, let us know because it will be a good excuse for us to hang out, and that would be fun. What was helpful? What do you need more of? Yeah, just you're doing it. We're doing it. Like we're already doing so amazing. Just remember, like we're reparenting ourselves in real time as we're parenting the next generation and trying to keep up in a system that is constantly trying to keep us down. So we need each other. Give each other and yourselves permission. You're amazing. You're doing it. I love you. We'll see you soon. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yay.
All right. Bye, guys.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Mind Rise podcast. Check out our show notes for details and to get in on the latest at Mind Rise. Visit us on Instagram at The Mind Rise